Hello. There's more people out here than you think. My first day as a pro-life activist hit me like a tidal wave. I will never forget that day, and it was not something that I was expecting. My life changed in the span of just a few hours. I always knew I was pro-life, but I never really got involved, and I didn't really have an outlet. That is, until last February, when I made a response video to a Teen Vogue article's support of abortion. I don't know if any of you guys here have seen that video. But the gist of that video was just to point out that, there's too many social media platforms that are targeting young girls, and I just wanted to respond to that and put that out there, and so that people knew that there are alternatives and that there are people our age that are pro-life. I mean, after all, we are the pro-life generation. Amen. However, I was not prepared for what happened afterwards. I remember sitting in my living room and watching the view count go up, which was not something that we expected. A few days later, I started partnering up with Students for Life. I'm their student spokesperson, so I have the amazing opportunity to work with them. But I remember, I was starting to get calls for interviews and, just all of these kinds of things, speaking at conferences that I wasn't prepared for. Before that point, I had not really been in the pro-life movement, and I had no idea what I was doing. I remember telling my mom, okay, I need to learn everything about everything in the next 3 days because I feel completely in over my head. But after, the momentum died down, I kind of used that, and I started, making more videos and speaking at conferences and really just diving into the pro-life movement and using this platform that I was given. Now, the reason I tell you my story is to encourage you, because you should know that there's nothing special about me that made me more able to do the things that I've done than any of you guys. If you are passionate about this movement, you should know that you absolutely have the capability to have a voice and make a difference in this movement. It's not me, it's not something special that I have, it's just simply that I took that passion and I poured it into something, and I was able to use that passion to make a difference and make a platform. After I was kind of overwhelmed, but, Kristen and, the Students for Life team, they gave me a lot of patience, and I was able to kind of, learn a lot more about the pro-life movement. And I can tell you, I have not had a crazier year in my life. This past year has not only been amazing, but overwhelming and busy and insane. But I'm learning as I go, and I'm kind of getting my feet underneath myself and learning all I can about the pro-life movement. But really what I learned is there's 3 things you need in the pro-life movement. 3 tools that you need to have to really you kind of know what you're doing and make a difference. And those things are time, dedication, and courage. And I'm sure everyone in this room has those 3 things, but they are very important, so we're going to go through them. So first is time. It takes a lot of time, not only, going to these events, attending conferences, having your Students for Life club, but it takes a lot of time to know what's happening in the pro-life movement. Because, if Planned Parenthood is doing something, we need to be aware so that we can be ready, so we can have a rapid response, so that we can be prepared to address those issues. We need to know what's happening in the pro-life movement so that we're educated and we have a good understanding. Not only that, but it takes a lot of physical time being places. I remember one time we had a brewery in our local town, and they hosted a Planned Parenthood party. So naturally, our group, we heard about this, and we decided that we wanted to have a pro-life stance there. Unfortunately, it was a day that landed on a day that I actually agreed to help out with a photo shoot. It was just one of my friends that was kind of, getting started, and so luckily, we were able to work it out, but that morning, I had to go get hair and makeup done, run over to this brewery, protest for 4 hours, and then book it to the photo shoot. I barely made it. But anyways, I'm standing there protesting with this giant updo and purple lipstick, not something that I usually do. I'm sure they were just like, who are these people? Pro-lifers are weird. But anyways, I was there. You have to, be able to compromise and, change your schedule to fit these things in because it's so important. It takes a lot of dedication, and that's the second thing is dedication. I'm sure we all know this. We're all in the pro-life movement. But sometimes it's hard because you feel like you're alone. You feel like you don't have enough people to really make a difference. But even one person can make a difference. Even if you just have a small group of people who are willing to speak out on your college campus or wherever it is, you can make a difference. You want to make your events count, and don't discount the difference just a few people can make. If you think about it, what happens when you save one life? That's generations of people. That in and of itself is a victory. So don't be discouraged when you don't have, a large group of people by your side. I know this is something that I struggle with on my college campus. It's hard to recruit members, and it's hard to keep them interested and go to the meetings and go to all the events. But if you have, just a few people that are there with you, you can make a tremendous difference. One of my favorite quotes is actually by Mother Teresa, and she says, "Not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love." These small things you do with great love will have a tremendous impact in our world. When you show love to these women who are going into Planned Parenthood, or just the people on your campus, that in and of itself is making a huge difference in lives, maybe in ways that you don't even realize. It's worth putting in the effort because this is such an important movement. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the third thing you need, which is courage. And this is something that's incredibly important because you can be pro-life your whole life, but not do anything about it because you feel like you don't have the resources, or you don't have what it takes, or you don't really know where to go. That's why you need courage. You need to be able to stand out and be a voice for the voiceless, because if you don't, no one else will. Now, this week, you've marched, you've listened to some amazing pro-life mentors, you've been inspired, and hopefully you've bought some pro-life t-shirts. But soon, you may find yourself back at your college campus with somebody wanting to yell in your face or mock you, and that's when we get really discouraged. When we're standing on campus and we feel isolated because we're on a campus with hundreds of people that disagree with us. And at that point, it's easy to think, well, I can't do this. I'm on my own. I don't have enough people. But that's when you need to think back to this weekend and realize there are thousands of people supporting you. There are thousands of pro-life teens who are doing the same thing for the same reason. I absolutely love seeing all of your faces here because you're all here for the same reason. You're here to stand up against abortion. We recognize the lies that Planned Parenthood tells us, and we know abortion is wrong. So what we need to do is take this momentum and bring it somewhere. You might be standing outside of Planned Parenthood and see a woman, crying who's just walked through those doors, and you know what's happened, and all you can do is support her. But sometimes, that's scary to do. We don't always feel like we have the resources. But together, we can truly make a difference. As you love them both, and as you find your voice, take this amazing week and tuck it in your heart, and remember why we are doing this. We are fighting on the right side. We are all here because we believe in the sanctity of life, and we believe that every single preborn baby is valuable and should have a chance at life. You all should be incredibly proud that you are part of the pro-life movement. It takes a lot to be a pro-life activist. It takes boldness and courage and dedication and time and all of those things. But by you being here, that shows that you have what it takes. You have what it takes to be a voice in this movement, even if you don't feel like it. You all should be proud that you are here and you are a part of the pro-life movement. So I just want to thank you for coming, dedicating your time, staying committed, and being courageous, because we need more people like you in this movement. We are the pro-life generation, and what that means is that we truly believe we will see abortion abolished in our lifetime. But in order to do that, we have to be courageous, and we have to be willing to stand up and to make a difference. Are you guys willing to do that? Are you guys willing to go back to your campus? An example of someone who is beyond courageous, somebody that I very much look up to, is a girl named Maddie Runkles, and she's here today to share her story. Maddie.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. I wasn't expecting that at all, honestly. I wasn't sure how many of you had actually heard of me. So my name is Maddie Runkles. This is my son, Grayson, but we call him Gray. I got pregnant my senior year of high school. It was actually exactly a year ago, this Thursday, this past week, that I found out that I was pregnant. And it's so amazing to see how far God has brought me. Because when I found out I was pregnant, I thought that my world was over. I thought, life was over. I'm never going to be able to get through this. I'm not going to go to college. I might not even finish high school. And I'm going to become a statistic. But it's not. And this, exactly a year ago on Thursday, I was sitting in front of the vice president and sharing my story with him. And that is absolutely amazing. Sorry, okay. I hope he behaves. When I found out that I was pregnant, I was scared to death. I had no clue what to do. I had no idea who to turn to. My first thought was, I need to go have an abortion because I can't do this. People can't find out. I don't know what's going to happen to me. I can have an abortion. I can keep it a secret, and nobody will ever find out. So I tried to keep it a secret for as long as I could, and 3 days later, I just broke down in front of my mom, and we were in the grocery store parking lot, and I told her, and she looked at me, and she said, Maddie, she started crying. She said, you're going to be okay. She said, I love you, and we're going to get through this, and we're going to figure it out together. You're not alone. The next day, I was driving home from church with my brother in the car, and I stopped to get gas, and I got back in the car, and I just started crying. I was having a bad day. My card wouldn't go through on the gas pump. I don't know what was going on, and I was just so upset and angry with everything going on. I got in the car, and I started just bawling my eyes out, and he said, what's your problem? Like, what's your deal? And I said, Evan, I'm pregnant. And he was like, what? And I was like, I'm pregnant. And he, I think he got a little teary. I won't embarrass him. And he just said, well, it's going to be okay. He said, I'll get a job. I'll help you. And he's 15 years old. He can't. But it was the sweetest thing ever. He's such a good brother. So, yeah, give him a round of applause. He deserves it. So after I told him that, he said, I'll help you. I'll support you and the baby. And I said, Evan, no. And and then he said, and if anyone says anything mean about you, he said, I'll take care of it. He said, and I will beat them up. And he's 6 feet tall, so he is kind of scary, but he's really sweet. So I told my brother, and then the next day was Monday, and I went to school, and I was just in a daze because, I had this secret and nobody knew about it. And I just didn't feel really a part of anything because my whole life is getting ready to change and nobody has any idea. So that night at dinner, my dad came home, and we were talking about school, and I was enrolled in college classes. So I was dual enrolled in college classes at the community college. And I was taking classes, and one of my classes, my grade was just plummeting. It was bad, and I wasn't able to focus. My grades were dropping in. The school reports the grades to your parents and stuff. And so my dad found out, and he was talking to me, I heard that your grade's dropping. He said, this is important. You need to get good grades because this carries over to when you go away to college and stuff. He said, you need to focus on school. And I started crying. I looked at him, I said, Dad, I'm pregnant. And he was very silent, he didn't say anything. I think he got a little teary. And he just looked at me, he said, okay. He said, well, I love you, it's gonna be fine, and we're gonna figure it out. He said, I don't know what's gonna happen. He said, but I know that God is in this somewhere, and we're gonna figure it out. And so that was I was completely blown away by all the reactions from my mom, my dad, and my brother, because I wasn't expecting that at all. I wasn't expecting them to be mad at me or yell at me, but I wasn't expecting them to be so supportive and loving and being just, okay, well, we're going to pick up and move on, and we're going to figure it out. So after I told them, I went to school, and we hadn't told anybody yet at school, and I have 3 best friends. I was in a really small class. There was 15 kids in my class, and there was 3 other girls, so obviously we're all best friends. So I told the one, I had class with her, there was a class and it was just her and I in class, and I said, can we go to the bathroom? She's like, yeah, of course. So we went to the bathroom and I said, I have something to tell you. I looked at her and she wasn't expecting this at all, and I said, I'm 8 weeks pregnant. And she was like, what? And I said, I'm 8 weeks pregnant. She's like, you're joking. And I said, no, and I showed her the sonogram and she just started crying. And then I started crying and it was just really emotional in the locker room. And she said, well, this is exciting. She said, you're having a baby. And I was like, this is not exciting. I said, this is like the worst thing to ever happen to me. She's like, no. She's like, you're going to be fine. She's like, and I'm so excited to meet he or she, whatever it's going to be. So that, and I was like, well, I wasn't expecting that from her. So we went back to class, and then the next day I told my friend, we were sitting in the parking lot before school, and I told her in her car, and she thought I was joking, and I showed her the sonogram, and she was like, well, congratulations. She said, well, this is exciting. She's like, this is going to be great. And I'm like, it's not going to be great, but okay. And then the next day we told our other friend in the computer lab, and it was before our Bible class, and so we told her, and she immediately thought it was a joke too. So we showed her the sonogram, and she was like, what? She's like, you're serious? I'm like, yes, I'm serious. I'm having a baby. And she just started like crying, and she just hugged me. And then we all started crying, and they were all hugging me. And the reaction from them is not what I was expecting. These are my best friends who have grown up with me, and this was the last thing that they would have ever expected for me to tell them. I'm a quiet person. Like, this is completely out of my comfort zone. I don't cause much trouble. I'm shy. I kind of just stick to myself and my small group of friends. And the reaction from them, really, and my parents, and the rest of my family, because the rest of my family all acted the same way that my parents and brother did, it really reassured me that I did make the right choice in getting my baby, and then I could do this, and I was going to get through this, and I wasn't going to end up just being another statistic. So when my school found out, obviously, you guys know what happened with that, and the punishments that I broke a rule, and I know that, and I received punishments for it. And so I contacted Students for Life, and my goal for that, it wasn't to go after a Christian school and, expose them and get people to hate them and go after them and be mean. It was really, I emailed Michelle Hendrickson. She was the regional coordinator for my area. I said, I just want to get involved somehow because I know that this story is bigger than myself, and just if there's anything that I can do, I would like to help out and use my story to help other girls. So she emailed me back, and then we scheduled a meeting at a coffee shop, and we sat down. My parents were there, and my brother, and he wasn't there actually, sorry, just my parents. And another lady from my school was there that had kind of taken me under her wing and sort of mentored me throughout everything that went on. So we were talking, and Michelle was like, this is way bigger than yourself. This happens to so many other girls. It's not just you, but no one is willing to step up and talk about it. No one has the guts. So this can be something huge. So that happened, and then New York Times contacted us, and I had an interview in May, and then the story was released, I think it was 2 weeks before our high school graduation. My punishment was taken out of leadership. I couldn't attend my graduation, and a bunch of other, fun senior class things that I had to miss out on. And so that the New York Times story happened, and obviously I didn't think I was going to end up walking across the stage at graduation, and my goal for that wasn't to attack a small Christian school that nobody had ever heard of and go after Christians and give Christians a bad name. I wanted people to know that you can't treat girls like me like this because you're literally indirectly encouraging abortion without actually, telling them go have an abortion. So after the story and stuff came out, okay, but yeah, it's cute. So all the media stuff happened. It was crazy. I was in New York with Kristen, and the next day I was in DC, and it was like a whirlwind of interviews and stuff, and it was just a very emotional week and a half. And then graduation came, and obviously I wasn't able to attend, but then I had an alternate graduation ceremony, and that was awesome that my parents put on for me, and Students for Life helped out, and they're awesome. Kristen is amazing, you guys. You have no idea. She's just the best. So all that stuff happened, and when I step back and think about it, when I first found out that I was pregnant, I was so mad. I said, why does this have to be me? I know so many other people that are doing the things that I am. Why did it have to happen to me? I was mad at God. I was mad at myself for letting it happen, and I was so confused. Now that I step back exactly a year later and look at everything, I just have to say, why not me? I don't want to sound prideful. That sounds horrible. But this happened to me. God gave me this opportunity, and I got to go through this experience, both good and bad, to help other girls in this situation. Guys, this isn't just me that this has happened to. I'm no one special. But this happens to so many other girls, and they're just brushed aside, they're hidden away, so nobody finds out about it, and nothing's gonna get done. You know, my school reacted the best way that they knew how, because they didn't know how to handle a situation like this. Christian schools and Catholic schools don't know how to handle thank you, Dad, don't know how to handle something like this, because it's uncomfortable to talk about. It's uncomfortable to see a pregnant girl in the hallway. Like, I don't know how I would have reacted if this was someone else in my high school. I probably would have felt uncomfortable. I'm sure I would have talked bad about her, because it's so easy to do, and it's so easy to judge when you have no idea the circumstances to her situation. You don't know why she's pregnant, you don't know what happened to her, and it's so quick to make a judgment just by looking at a person. And getting pregnant and going through all that really put into perspective like how I need to view other people that make mistakes. It's not just, you know, having an unplanned pregnancy. It can be anything. You know, you can be an alcoholic, you can be addicted to drugs, it can be anything. You can't just judge people based on what you see. You really have to get to know them and understand their story and why what happened. And I wish that the people who criticized me and judged me, if they would have just come and talked to me, they would have understand, you know, why this is going on, why I'm doing what I'm doing. And, you know, you need that support. Girls need that support. If it wasn't for my family and my best friends, and Students for Life, I have no idea where I would have ended up today. I'm sure I would not be, I'm enrolled in college right now, I'm sure would not be enrolled in college. I probably wouldn't even have the motivation to finish school. But because of the support that I've received, I am going to college. I am going to get a degree. I'm going to make the best life that I can for my son and I, and we just get to do all of it together, which makes it even better. But girls in my situation, you know, they don't have that support or that encouragement, and they don't feel like they can go after those things. They feel like a child is a burden, and it's not a burden. I mean, yes, it's a huge responsibility, and it is the best responsibility that you can ever be given. But it's not a burden. It's not something negative. You can do this. I can do this. Me and my son can do this, and we're going to do it together. And all of you guys have learned a lot. Today has been an exciting day. Take all that you've learned back to your high schools, back to your colleges. Go find those pregnant students. Go find those parenting students. Tell them, I'm here for you. I support you. I love you. And you're going to be fine. And we're going to figure this out. And you're going to get that college degree. You're going to graduate from high school. You're going to give your kid the best life that you can. And we're going to be fine. That's what you guys need to do. You need to show compassion. You need to care for them. And you need to love them. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So this momentum that we have today, keep it going. I know we're on like a pro-life high right now, but don't forget the energy that you have right now, guys. Take that, keep it, and go after it. Well, not go after it. That sounds kind of weird. I'm so sorry. Okay, anyhow, so go out there and win. Go save the babies. Go save the girls.